Hello, this is after a very long break, the Freaked team coming back to you with a new direction in the channel. We are going from now on to focus on real open source, free and not controlled software for communication and situational awareness. And the first entry that we would like to present in this family is called Columba. That is a mesh native communicator for resilient communication. We'll discuss about how works peer-to-peer, how protect you with cryptographic identity, and how you don't need any central server. So what is Columba? Why choose Columba? And how to get started? That is what we are going to cover in this presentation. We'll discuss how Columba is different from other systems that people like to compare, such as Meshtastic or Meshcore or similar, and why you should choose Columba instead and how to get started. So let's start with what is Columba, understanding why is a real mesh native communicator built for resilient decentralized communication. So the core of Columba is that it's built on Reticulum. Reticulum is not yet another LoRa framework, is a complete redefinition of what is a network. On the top of Reticulum, it uses a protocol called LXMF. That is the protocol for messaging. For the regular user, all of that is not very important, apart the fact that it's very flexible and is completely decentralized. A characteristic of a Reticulum built network is the cryptographic identity. Your identity is not related to your phone number or your email like in alternative communicator, but is a complete portable hash that you can reuse in different situations. That is very important. But the core of Reticulum and Columba is the fact that it works with several so-called interfaces or transport. Namely, you can use Bluetooth, you can use Wi-Fi and Internet, and you can also use LoRa like Meshtastic. But LoRa is only one of the alternatives. Additionally, you can mix and match everything together in the sense that if your partner has only Bluetooth and you have Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, you can, bridge the partner communication with anybody else in the world by using Bluetooth and Wi-Fi on the same time. So no central server, no mandatory internet, peer-to-peer, real mesh networking is resilient by design. If we have a situation in which the internet is not available, Columba will continue to work. So this is not a technical presentation. So very quickly, Columba is a pure Android client application. So you will need an Android phone, not an iOS phone. I know that there are other applications that are planned and in future can come also for other operating systems such as iOS. Frankly, I don't believe that iOS is a good idea if you intend to preserve your privacy, but that is up to you. For today, we will focus on Android clients, and on the top of that, you have this protocol for messaging called LXMF protocol that is built on the top of Reticulum. And like we said, Reticulum can use very different ways to communicate with the rest of the world, including Wi-Fi, LoRa, Ethernet, and very important Bluetooth. What is that can do for you the Reticulum? So it will create a mesh without you being concerned about it, will encrypt everything end to end, will allow you to transport information in a multi-op routing scenario. That means that even if your partner of communication is 120 op a way you will reach him, and it's transport agnostic. That is what I was explaining before, in the sense that even if you use multiple ways of communication between ops, will continue to work. On the top of that, the LXMF protocol has a store and forward capability. That means that if you are offline, your message will be stored and then will be forwarded to you when you are available. Why you should choose Columba? So here we will not even touch with horrible stuff like WhatsApp. If you have WhatsApp installed on your phone, I have only a message for you. Deinstall this thing. WhatsApp is not a communication tool. WhatsApp is a cyber weapon. But let's assume that you have, a little bit more privacy concern tools such as Telegram or Signal. What is the difference? So Telegram can do some level of security, but only in specific case. In any case, is a centralized cloud. So all messages are stored on the Telegram server. And, if they decide that you're a criminal, some people will get your messages. Your phone number is required, and that means that it's easy to identify you and clearly depend on the internet. Signal is much better in terms of security. Has a very strong encryption that is the industry-leading security protocol. However, is still server-based. As we speak is February on 2026, and a couple of months ago we had a down of AWS. AWS is today the infrastructure that basically run the internet, is controlled by billionaires and is located mostly in the United States. If that is a concern for you, even Signal is not good enough. So Signal requires a global connectivity, and if the internet is down or major servers are down, that is going to be a problem for you. So you depend on infrastructure that you don't control. So how is Columba better? Columba and Reticulum are designed for resilience, not for convenience marketing. So you don't have any central server. It's a complete peer-to-peer communication over this mesh network that is super dynamic and is completely owned by the users. Works anywhere. It will work in rural, emergency, or completely disconnected scenario. So no internet is required. You own your own identity. Your identity is local and can be also moved across different scenarios. So for example, if you lose your phone but you have a backup of your identity, you can install the same identity on another phone. There are also other Reticulum clients, and that means that you can port a Columba identity into a Windows desktop and confirm your identity, so you're still reachable. So what is the tool of choice? Columba is still a new software, so Signal is still a good choice if you're only concerned with corporate data mining. So it offers a very strong privacy protection. But if you're really looking for a situation in which you have a grid down scenario, Columba is the way to go. And also nowadays Android phones are super cheap. So we are trying to solve different problems here, but overall, if I will choose to have only one, I will only get Columba. So let's now get a little bit practical. So how is that you can find and install Columba? We'll see a little bit of introduction here, and then we will jump into the practical part of this video. So the Columba main repository, as you could expect, is on GitHub. Is github.com/torlando-tech/Columba. And it's released under the MIT license. That is a very good license. You will not need directly to download Reticulum because Reticulum is embedded into Columba, but you may want to take a look to Reticulum by Mark Quist. He invested over 10 years of her life to create the system. So if you can, please donate to Mark. All of us that support Reticulum, we don't get any money, but we strongly advise to donate to Mark because he did such a awesome work. So Columba is community driven. There are no hacks, it's open source. There is no venture capital roadmap. We do things like Columba because we want to offer to you tools that are free and they are resilient. So we will now go into step-by-step installation of Columba. In general, we'll install the software, we'll configure interface, we will generate an identity, we'll connect to the mesh and start messaging. So let's switch screen. And you can see here we are on the GitHub for Columba. That is my phone. It's a very old phone. It's a Samsung S8. That is like 10 years old. And that to demonstrate that you don't need a super software. So if you are on the page of Columba here, you scroll down and you can get an initial impression how that works from the screenshots here. And there are two ways in which you can download Columba. The easiest thing is to go to release and download one of the releases. A better way is to get it with Optanium. And why is better? Because Optanium will allow you not only to get one version, but also to remain up to date all the time. Columba is actively developed. Every week we get a new version. So the best way is to press this button, download Optanium, and then get it on Optanium. In alternative, you can go to release. And here you can install the last release. As you can see, the last one is 087 as today, and you have different version of it. In general, it's better to install the beta for the version of your phone. Typically is the first one. If you have Optanium, that is the way in which we suggest to do this thing. This is how it looks like. So we have added Optanium, the repository to Optanium, and from now on, we are going to see all the updates of this app. Okay, so this is Optanium. Here we only have one app, so we're going to install it. I click install. So we need to allow Android to install from this source. So we'll do this. And now we are ready to download and installing Columba. So I press install. One thing that we can do here is also to say that we install also the beta version. So we include the pre-release so that we get the very last version. So if you don't want to experiment with things, don't do that. But in this case, we're going to do with the pre-release so that we get the last version of it. And you see here, the last version is now the 087 beta release, and we are going to update the system. So we have here two versions, the one with no sentry and the one with sentry. No sentry is better, so we can take this one. Okay, we have now Columba on our desktop, and we'll start Columba for the first time. So Columba, by the way, is a constellation that is only visible in the southern hemisphere. So, and that is the shape of this constellation. Like I said, this is a very old phone, so you may notice that the performance is not exceptional, but we will see that still should work. So we had a little bit of a problem with the Samsung S8. This is indeed too old, so I needed to switch phone, and I'm now using another phone in which Columba was already installed. In this sense, you will not see the very nice in its initial wizard that will set up things for you, but we'll go through different settings so that you understand how that works. So the first thing that you need to do is you go here into settings and you look for network status. So, and you can see that the reticulum status is initialized and network status is ready. Now, in this specific installation, we have different so-called TCP interfaces. And we have, always by default, the Android BLE interface. That is how we communicate with Bluetooth. So the TCP interface is the most important one, and you need to find a valid interface. So let's try to go here and to manage interface. So we'll add one, and we will say that we want to have a TCP client. You can see here all the different type of interfaces. So you can select automatically discover. That will discover other partners on your local network. TCP client is how you connect to the overall internet infrastructure. Bluetooth is always there. Every phone has a Bluetooth, and that is the power of Columba. And AirNode is require you to have a specialized LoRa radio. So for now, we will focus on the TCP client. And you can see here, very nice, you have a list of clients that you can select. So we already have this one, so we are not going to select this, but let's assume that we have selected this one. And you can see that we have already RNS Transport US East. And that is how it works. You have a name, you have a IP, and it's enabled. Now, if you add a new interface, you will need to restart the system. And you can do that within the network status, and you can use Reticulum service restart. We will not do this for sake of time. Let's continue with different settings. So we have now connection, and we want to now manage our identities. So as you can see, I have here a identity with a display name, and I have here the cryptographic identity hash. I can also customize my profile, and very nice, I can also share my identity with a QR code. By scanning this on the phone, you will acquire my identity on Columba. You can also have different identities, so you can create a new one and switch between the two on the same phone. That is also very nice. Here in privacy, you can allow everyone to send you messages, or you can only get messages from people that you already know. Here you manage your notification. Announce is very important, is the way in which you tell the mesh that you're around, and normally 1 hour, every 1 hour is good enough. So I will suggest to keep it like this. Location sharing is super important and going to be even more important in a next video that we are doing, because one of the contributions that we are going to do to the community is to explain to you the awesome Reticulum Community Hub. That is not the scope of this video, but we will use the community hub a little bit here, and you see you need to select this to share with your group their location. Here you can select map sources and other options that are not so important. So we go to contact and to network. So network is where announcers are fired. And you see here, because that is a existing phone, he knows about almost 5,000 different clients. And you can also search for a client. So for example, if I search here for Corvo, I will find different LXMF clients. This, for example, is not a Columba, but it's another Android client called Sideband. And we can decide to communicate with this client. This is another client called NetChat that works on my Pi. So as you can see, the Reticulum family is, pretty extensive, but Columba is the most user-friendly, and that's why we like it so much. So when you have identified a client that you like, you can directly start to chat, or you can start the client, and that will be available under the list of my contacts. Now in my contacts, here I have a list of communication that I had in the last period with my Pi. As you can see, it's nothing really serious. It's mostly test. So when I send something, the system will try to reach directly the client, and if the client is reached and provide a acknowledgement, you will see the symbol. If it's still trying to find the client, you will see the symbol, and if that fails, you will see the symbol. As I said, here you have the list of all the different clients. Another very important feature is the ability to share position. You can share position with a specific client, or you can configure your client to receive the position from the hub. So, and Columba itself can act as a hub, so you can provide your Android client as a position holder for different people, and every time that you send this, it will send the position to the hub, and when you click this, you will receive the position from the hub. So, and basically this is our Columba. So let's go back to PowerPoint. So we have seen how to install Columba, to configure interfaces. We have not seen how to generate the identity because the initial wizard was not visible, but you will see that, and you simply decide a name, how to connect to the mesh, and select partners and start messaging. So why use Columba? Because you own your communication. No one can stop you. You don't provide any phone number, no email. You own your identity. You own the complete thing. So Columba do not ask for permission from the cloud, and that is why you should install it. And we'll see each other in the next video, in which we will present the awesome Reticulum Community Hub and what you can do with this.